Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us for Access City Council. I'm your host, David Riggleman, Communications Director for the City of Las Vegas. Coming up on this program, remembering Tony Hsieh, the visionary who spent years working to transform the city's downtown area. And we're going to tell you about all the things that Ward 6 is doing to remember the holidays. Of course, the councilwoman who represents Ward 6 is Michelle Fiore. She joins me now. Thanks so much for being here. How are you?
I'm great.
Happy
How
holidays.
are you?
Merry Christmas.
I know.
Happy Kwanzaa. Happy
Thanksgiving. Happy Hanukkah.
Happy
Hanukkah is
yeah.
the 10th through the 18th.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, I'm designing a Christmas card this year.
Are you?
And the front of the card, I want you to visualize this. The front of the card is a beautiful Christmas tree, crystal-like Christmas tree, with Santa Claus on a ladder, putting the Star of David on top of the Christmas tree.
See, we're inclusive.
With a rabbi standing next to the Christmas tree holding a menorah. And it says, together we celebrate Hanukkah and Christmas.
There you go. Very nicely done. I like that idea. I like
yeah.
that very much. That's good. Well, you know Ward 6 very, very well. We're going to talk a lot about Ward 6 today, hence the reason for the show. But for those that don't know exactly where Ward 6 is, we're going to give them a quick primer on it. Here it is. Ward 6 is in the northwest area of our great city. If you live in this area or work in this area, then you are in the city limits of the city of Las Vegas. And of course, if you're a resident out there, you are represented by Michelle Fiore, who's become a veteran of our city council. All of a sudden, you were one of the newbies, and now you're not anymore. You know, you're like one of the vets of city council now. So it goes by fast, doesn't it?
It goes by very fast. It's Councilman Anthony and myself.
Yeah, I know.
The oldest members.
I know. And I just remember when you just started. And
I know.
You were the newbie out there, but that's the way it works, you know. And now
So when I first started, I won't say who called me the Tasmanian devil, but they said it in such a great way. They're like, "You're just running around crazy, and we've got so much to do."
Well, you're very busy. Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. And you know what? That's a lot of the theme of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to get into that. I think I wanted to start off today, if you don't mind, Councilwoman, remembering Tony Hsieh. His death was, it's just something that really hit us all in the gut. That's how I felt anyway. Came out of left field, and he had such an impact on our entire city, downtown especially, but across the city. He was such an iconic figure that meant so much to Las Vegas, and I know we're all really trying to get over the shock of what's occurred.
You know, it's really difficult, especially for the folks that are very close to him. A friend of mine, Pui, who's extremely close to him. We did the memorial on Fremont Street. Derek Stevens loved him. Our mayor loved him. Laura in our mayor's office had a very close relationship with him. And what he's done for the city of Las Vegas, I mean, he invested over $350 million with us here. Tony coined the phrase return on community instead of return on investment. He just set his mind to end hunger and create peace. And he does these things. And when you look at Tony and you look at his photos and you look at some of the interviews he has done, and when you speak to him, when you speak to him, he thinks that you understand his vision. The smile on his face is so authentic and original. And so his legacy will live a really long time. He was only 46.
Yeah, hard to believe.
And we talked about this. He was a servitude leader.
He was,
Yeah, and you think about his parties. He would literally serve appetizers. He would get up, he'd get you a drink. What do you want to drink? And just an original, kind-hearted soul, gentle soul, genius. You know,
clearly.
It's really sad that, you know, it was an accident that he's gone. And, you know, it's rough. And people don't realize you got to be very careful with fires and candles and stuff.
Yeah, you do.
It's, you know,
especially this time of year. It's just, but the fire department, our own LVFR, Las Vegas Fire and Rescue, talks about that all the time, the danger of candles.
The danger of candles.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest issues here. And it's really, so I just want to remind people that blow your candles out before you fall asleep.
Yeah, please. You know, Councilwoman, something you touched on, Tony was known for his servant leadership. You mentioned that. And it's funny, I remember he had he actually had written a book about it well before the era we're in now. Now it's all of a sudden very popular for this concept of servant leaders in executive management, in that type of leadership. But Tony was doing that long before anybody thought it was cool or popular. Because that's just the way he was. And now it's just interesting to me that the way he envisioned leadership and management is now spreading. It's kind of the cool thing to do right now, is to be that servant leader.
So I'll tell you, when I toured Zappos back in, I think, 2016, before I was on city council, and I toured Zappos, and I was just shocked of the culture, right? And I have his book. And first of all, there's a bar, right, with alcohol. And, you know, you're allowed to have a drink a day. I was listening to a phone call with one of the customer service reps talking to a woman about a pair of shoes. And she got the shoes, it was like $40 on $40 on sale for $17.99. I don't know. It was
deal.
It was a deal. It was definitely a deal. And she was crying and she was upset because her husband had just passed away. Now this is talking to a customer service of Tony Hsieh's representative. When I stood there, the timer on it, he was on the phone with this one customer for 27 minutes. And we just kind of listened in and we walked away. So we walked away after 27 minutes. Come to find out, that customer service rep sent that woman flowers because her husband just passed. And these are for a $17 pair of shoes. Now, most corporations would go, that's not a return on investment. Right, number one, we're paying the employee, the representative, $20 an hour.
Plus the flowers.
Plus the flowers now, plus the time. He could have been helping someone else. Not Tony Hsieh's organization. So when I saw that, and they can have lunch, they interact, they sell their own stuff, by the way. He had a program to where his employees, if they were making little tchotchkes or something, they could set up tables and sell their stuff like once a week, or I don't know how often. But it was really something I have never, ever seen before.
It was different.
And nor as a CEO. As a CEO, I've had several companies across the nation, in Colorado and Texas and California and in Nevada. So when I saw his model, I thought, this wouldn't work in the construction industry or the political industry or the consultant industry. But then when you sit and you go, it would work. It would work as long as you made sure everything was covered and your basis was covered. So he did set a big example.
He did, and certainly a trend in leadership, in business, and he put Las Vegas at the forefront because of his presence. So it will be an adjustment for our city. We always are resilient and we move on, but it was just, this will be one that we'll have to work through. Council's already talked about how to memorialize Tony, and we're gathering a lot of ideas out there, and we'll keep you all posted, and I'm sure we'll come up with something fantastic because we're hearing from so many of you.
Did you hear the mayor speak about
yes, I did.
her statue idea?
I think her idea is a good one. It's a good one. It's Councilman, tell everybody, it's very unique because Tony was so unique.
Yes. So just think about a statue, like a robotic statue, like a moving statue. Like we did the Alan Beck statue, and it's a beautiful statue.
Traditional, though.
Traditional statue. So what the mayor is envisioning is like a statue that moves of Tony Hsieh, right? Maybe that represents being a servant leader or peace, or maybe he's sitting Indian style, like he likes to do, and maybe he's moving around or something. But I think it's going to be good.
We'll come up with something great, I know. So stay tuned for all of that. And Councilman, it's the holiday season. It's upon us, and I know this is a time of year when you and your team certainly do not put your feet up. In fact, you step up your game.
Yeah.
How many presents wrapping?
5,000.
Only 5,000 this year, folks. A mere 5,000 presents. That's a lot of things to wrap. So.
Well, we had to up it this year simply because I'm nervous about the folks being out of work for COVID.
Meeting,
I'm nervous. I just always think about that. You know, I always think about the kids, and I think about the parents that are stressing out right now,
Yeah.
not being
Many
able
are.
to get the kids something, right? It may not be the Xbox, right? But maybe it could be a doll or a basketball or just something that's under the tree.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so that's what we're working on. We work with a lot of organizations outside the city
To distribute the gifts,
to
exactly.
distribute the
Yeah,
gifts.
exactly.
And we have a lot of volunteers this year willing to help us give out gifts.
I
And
think with 5,000 gifts, yeah, volunteers, a lot of volunteers
Yeah,
would be very
yeah.
important. Yeah.
so it's really, and this is what we do. I mean, for Halloween, you know, we were shut down.
I know.
And
Still
so,
made it
yeah.
happen. We're going to talk about that. Yeah.
So I
yeah.
mean, so with our Christmas, we're gonna have Santa Claus. We're gonna
So tell everybody about
yeah.
that. You're going to still do your traditional
Yes.
trees,
Yes.
all the trees where you can drive through and see. That's really a cool display.
Yeah, and it's outside. So
Exactly.
actually, you can still walk around. You just can't touch things.
Right. You got to be
Yeah,
separated.
you got to be
you know, yeah.
separated. But the beauty of it will still be there. Our Santa Claus is
See?
still going to be there. We're still going to do pictures with Santa Claus. It's just going to
Tell
be a
them how
little
you're-
different,
exactly.
right?
Tell them how
So
we're going to do it to
we'll
be
have
safe.
Santa Claus like behind like a plexiglass,
yeah.
but like a clear reflective plexiglass to where it won't reflect on the camera.
Non-reflective, yeah, so that it won't, so that you're not, if you have
Yes.
a flash, it's not going to just blind
Yes.
everything. Yeah.
So, and then we'll have the kids stand like in front. So, I mean, it'll look like he's with Santa,
Yeah.
but we just have to obey the rules, even though we hate them.
I
We hate
know.
obeying
It's
the
2020.
rules, right?
We're just going to have to make do.
Yeah,
So.
and then they'll get their presents, of course, individually wrapped again, and so everything is safe and secure.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So that's at Floydland Park at Julie
Floydland
Springs.
Park,
Like it's been in the past. We're still going to do
Yeah.
that again. Very safe drive-through. We're getting good at the drive-through things. We're going to talk about your spooktacular at
Yeah.
Halloween was a drive-through.
Yes.
Your Easter egg
Was a drive-through.
Easter basket distribution was drive-through.
You know, and it's
so we know what we're doing
yeah,
now.
we know what we're doing,
Yeah.
and it's so funny because when we did the Easter drive-through, Sheriff Joe Lombardo.
I remember.
Oh my God, he's like, I'm sending one of my officers out there to make sure you're doing
you might
it
be
right,
violating
right,
it. Exactly.
right?
And they got that. Oh, this is good.
Yeah, this
everything's
is good.
cool.
So I got the approval of the sheriff, so
yeah,
I was like,
right.
okay.
No, because it was really done safely,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
the whole point. We're going to do that with the Christmas trees. You just drive through and look at them.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't
yeah.
even have to get out of your car. You can. You walk around if you
Yeah.
want. We're going to have people social distance,
Yeah.
but if you don't want to get out of your vehicle,
Yeah,
you don't even
it's
have
perfect,
to. So
yeah.
yeah, it couldn't be any better. So we have that coming up, and Councilwoman, of course, you guys do a lot at Christmas, but you do a lot for all the holidays. So I wanted to talk about Thanksgiving as well. You posted this on Facebook. You said, today we are celebrating being able to feed 500 of our seniors for Thanksgiving at the Centennial Hills Community Center. And this is a big deal because you had to put everything, it looks like they're all, individually
Yes,
wrapped. Oh my
yes.
goodness. That's a lot of work.
So I'll tell you again, everything because of COVID has to be individually wrapped, right? So for our Thanksgiving, I usually eat Thanksgiving with our seniors, and Ashley usually cooks over at our senior
Yeah,
center.
that's right. That's right.
And that couldn't happen this year. So we had the best catering company, We use them all the time. And they put together a full Thanksgiving meal. Turkey, cranberry sauce, gravy, mashed potato stuffing, green beans, butter, a roll, salad, a pumpkin pie. I mean,
Wow.
everything, the whole, and I ate one. So I gave 499 away because I want folks to know that I'm not going to give them something that I don't love.
Exactly.
That I don't love. And so I'm very excited about Thanksgiving, and people were very excited about it. We just couldn't sit together
I know,
and break
I know.
bread. So we'll do that next year. I think.
That's
We'll
what-
get back to that.
Exactly. We'll get back to that. It sounds like we're moving forward, so next year. But you still, we made do this year.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. They weren't forgotten. They still got a great meal. You just had to do it differently this year.
Yeah.
So, and then, Councilwoman, as in the Thanksgiving spirit, you also remembered the city employees. I wanted to
Yeah.
mention this real quickly. You posted this on Facebook. You said, "Happy Thanksgiving. We're grateful to have such an amazing team caring for our city. Ward 6 visited all the City of Las Vegas employees today." That's a lot of pink box donuts that got delivered. You were everywhere,
Yeah.
including City Hall. I know the donuts were everywhere. But, Councilman, so many people, I know, so many city employees, you're seeing our fire department here. really appreciated it because pandemic or no pandemic, we got to keep going. We're the local government. We have to keep functioning, and we've managed to do that. So just to say thank you and remember, God, the incredibly difficult year we've all been through, it went a long way, even if it was just with a donut.
You know, I think people don't realize how important all of our staff is because gosh, I don't want to age myself that bad, but I am 50. So for the 30-something, I'll say, years that I've been in business for myself, employees could either work with you or not work with you.
Yeah, they
so
make
I've
a break.
always
Yeah,
said,
absolutely. Yeah.
you know, you guys work with me, not for me. And that's just something I find important. And I think just showing an appreciation, I know it's just a little donut, you know, but it's 2,000 little donuts, all individually wrapped. What I did hear about the individually wrapped donuts is they stayed fresher.
Yeah.
They stayed fresher because, you know, we're just...
They're not exposed to the air.
They're not
yeah.
exposed to the air. So, and it's pink box. That happens to be
They
my
must
favorite.
have loved seeing you coming. How many donuts was that?
It's about 2,000 donuts.
2,000 donuts.
Yes.
Okay.
And
they
then,
said,
yeah.
we love you, Michelle Fiore.
I don't know how much they loved me because they had to individually wrap them all and then they stick them all and then we put pretty stickers on it. Happy Thanksgiving, love our council office. And I really like exuding love to all the folks that work together and even outside the city. We just want to show our appreciation, especially for our first responders and our law enforcement. And so we pop by I call it the Castle on Bonanza.
The downtown area command,
And our Northwest
area
Metro area command,
yeah.
And then, and we've done a couple of other little things. I forget the list, but it was a big list, and we just wanted to make sure everyone knew we appreciated them.
Well, and folks, I think to give you the full perspective, the city has about 3,000 employees-ish, if you include the part-time staffers. And if you consider the fact that we're not just at City Hall, we're at the rec centers, the fire stations, we're all, the east and west yard, we're all over the place, the various pools. And so to get that many donuts to that many employees is not, a simple thing. That's a lot of logistical planning because we're spread out everywhere.
And we had a team of 3. We started at 6 a.m. And we got done by 2,
3 people
right?
delivered 2,000 donuts.
Wow. But it was really cool. It was really cool.
Well, and again, it was much appreciated because this has been a hard year. I think everyone would testify and agree that this has been probably the most difficult year, certainly of my life. But we had to keep doing our jobs. We couldn't just say, well, I'm going to quarantine until this is all over.
I know.
People
we can't stick our head in the sand.
Exactly. And Councilwoman, you've said this, and I've heard you say it multiple times. The community needs us, especially now. This is when we need to step up our game. When it's really, when we don't really feel like always having to do it, you know.
It's most important.
Very, very difficult year. So, I don't know, those little remembrances, even if it's just, like I say, just a donut, it meant a lot.
It's a donut with love.
Exactly.
So it's a donut with love.
And it's a way, it's just people, it's saying thank you too, and that goes a long way, certainly.
Yes.
So.
And I think, you know, I'm hoping, because I've been in City Hall 3 years now, and I'm hoping like they know how much we love them and appreciate them. This is something that I learned from my mom. You know, back in the day, as a child, we would always give things away. We would always give presents, and whether it was a cookie or eggnog she made one year, but we can't do that. So,
depending on what's in that eggnog.
Right. But she was always generous, tough. My mom was tougher than nails. I mean, I can't wait to write some of the stories in a book about growing up with my mother. But generous as heck, tough as nails, generous as heck. So, you know, and you just learn things from your childhood, and some of them stay and some of them don't, right? And so her generosity definitely stayed.
Well, certainly you reflect that now, you and your team, no question about it. And then, Councilwoman, not to be outdone, of course we can't forget, we've talked about Christmas and the holidays, we talked about Thanksgiving. Your Spooktacular was pretty incredible this year too. You posted this on Facebook. You said, "Happy Halloween. It was so fun to see all the Ward 6 families tonight at our drive-up Spooktacular in Floydland Park at Tule Springs. And Councilwoman, like I said earlier, hey, we're good at drive-up events now. We've been doing it since the spring because of COVID. And this meant so much. We've talked about this because so many kids did not go trick-or-treating. Either neighborhoods weren't doing it, people weren't handing out candy, parents didn't feel comfortable taking their kids door to door. So events like this kind of saved the holiday for so many kids, especially look at these little faces. They get to put their costumes on, they get to get some candy, and they get to do it in a safe way.
Yeah, that was really, I have to tell you, and our staff loves it. Chance Bonaventura has been with me, goodness gracious, since he's 16. He's 24, he'll be 25 in February. And it's funny because I tease him because as an elected official, when you grow like a child, right? You're like, so I say to him, you're going to be 25 next year. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, you know what that means? And he's like, what? I'm like, you're old enough to run for office.
Yeah, there you go.
So
get ready, here comes
Right?
Chance.
So it's so funny. So I think about him and all the years that he's been around and just all the great things that he's been a part of. And he says to me this year, he says, what was so great about our Halloween event? And I said, what? And he goes, the kids were so happy. Yeah. Right? And here's,
we saw those faces,
they were so happy. And I thought, that's so great that he sees that, that he sees, the smiles that he put on these kids' face, giving them a bag of candy.
Well, imagine that you're a child and you come to find out, well, you know what, we're not doing trick or treat this year, or at least our neighborhood's not. Mom and Dad don't feel comfortable taking you door to door. So then it's like, well, what happened here? This doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So events like your Spooktacular, huge because we still got to celebrate the holiday, got to do it safely.
And I'll tell you, so that event was scheduled from 5 to 7.
I know. Tell everybody this.
It went till 8:30. All of our staff, all of our volunteers, all of our city staff, and we had to shut it down because we gave the last, we were expected.
Councilwoman, you were the only game in town, or at least in that area. There wasn't going to be trick or treat. That was Halloween night. That was on the 31st. That Saturday night. But for your event, there was nothing going on. And it was the only one where you could stay in your vehicle, feel like you were going to be able to do it safely. And so, you got a throng out there.
So, for Halloween like that, I got creative with my own family too. Because remember, I've got 6 grandchildren, almost 7, right? Savannah's about to give birth like December 18th or 20th.
Wow, coming right up,
Coming right up. So we put up a black Halloween tree, the Christmas before Nightmare, the Nightmare Before Christmas.
Night before Christmas.
The
Tim Burton,
Burton, Tim Burton. So we did a whole little Tim Burton theme. I put 6 bags of candy, because they had a candy. We did a movie night, so we saw the Nightmare Before Christmas, and then
that's a great film if you have not seen it.
And then we did pizza and trick or treat bags of candy. So even though they didn't get to go trick or treating, they got to come to Nona's house.
Exactly.
And we still did it. So it was very nice. And we did that Friday night. So we did Halloween with my family Friday night. So I can do Halloween with the city on Halloween. Yeah. So and my family is, for 8 years I've been in public service already. And so my kids and grandkids as they grow, they're used to sometimes we have to do Thanksgiving or Christmas a day before or a day after. And we make it really special because we just want. Now this year we didn't get to feed the homeless this year for Thanksgiving. We, for Christmas we're not going to be able to serve because sometimes, with Catholic Charities we're able to serve.
You'd go down
now
there.
Now we can't do that.
No, it's different this year.
It's very different. So we just want to make sure that all of the children have what they need.
Well, you hit it out of the park. You did a great job. And again, Halloween was awesome. Thanksgiving is great, and we're not gonna drop the ball at Christmas.
No.
So there's going to be plenty. We'll have lots of information about the drive-through, the trees out at Floydland Park, and the 5,000 presents that you mentioned at the top of the show. You're working with different charities to distribute those. Yeah,
absolutely. So. And it's funny because when people go, "Oh, it's COVID, she can't be doing any events." Yeah, you can.
You just have to do it differently.
You absolutely can. You just have to do. So where there's a will, there's a way, and that really makes the difference to our children, to the people in need. And so I don't want people to ever think that just because something is in place that they cannot do something. You can always do it, and there's a way.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like you did. You just have to be creative.
Yeah.
We're going to have you drive through, you know, that kind of thing. And like I say, I've said it before, but yeah, we're getting good at the drive-through stuff. We've got a lot of practice.
We are.
Easter, Halloween, Christmas. We'll just keep going. So, well, Councilwoman, we're just about out of time here. Any holiday thoughts that you have for the folks out there in Ward 6 or across the city in general?
I do. I think this year, and it's always been my thing with my kids and grandkids, and I've told them every Christmas, like, the best present I could ever receive from anyone is something made, right? Whether it's a drawing on a piece of paper, and there's so many that I have framed because it's a personal gift.
Yeah.
And I think through this holiday season, you know, if there's struggle, you know, it really, you can draw a picture, paint a picture, make a clay, go and get a rock and make a pet rock and draw on it, paint on it, and put it in a box and give it as presents. I need people to get creative this holiday season
so
because
true.
things are
different year.
changed. It's a different year. We have many people out of work right now, and our office is always open to helping and doing, you know, anything.
You guys have been tireless through this whole thing, that's for sure. Well, I want to wish you a very, very happy holiday season. Best to you and your family. Happy New Year. We'll see you back here on this show in 2021.
I know.
2020 will be over.
Yeah.
The next time I see you on the show. Yes.
Yes, right? We're done.
So, we'll have you back in 2021. And we want to tell you out there, you know, we always want to hear from you. So if you have something you'd like to share with Councilwoman Fiore, you can always find her on Facebook and Twitter. She's great on social media. You can also contact her just by picking up the phone, 702-229-6405, or send her an email. Her address is mfiore@lasvegasnevada.gov. And she or one of her great staffers will get back to you right away. They always do. So, Councilwoman, wish you all the best. And looking forward to 2021 getting here.
Yes,
So,
me too. Thank you, David.
right.
It's always a pleasure.
yeah, vice versa. Thanks so much. And we want to thank you for joining us for this edition of Access City Council. Our next show begins airing on December 17th with Ward 1 City Councilman Brian Knutson. You can catch all of our KCLV shows now on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget, you can watch us live on the internet at kclv.tv. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time around. Please stay safe out there.